Welcome to Work in Progress, Conversations with Creators. I'm your host, Logan Roy Speitman. On today's program, I have with me Nathaniel Tetsuro Paolinelli, who's an incredible Albuquerque-based photographer. We had a great conversation, and I hope that you enjoy.
If you enjoy our podcast, please like and subscribe and consider becoming a digital subscriber to the Albuquerque Journal to help us bring you more content like this. You can find this episode and all of our podcasts on the Albuquerque Journal website, abqjournal.com, as well as YouTube, iTunes, and Spotify. See the show notes for a discount code on a digital subscription. Thank you for supporting the Albuquerque Journal, New Mexico's leading news.
Nathaniel, thanks for being here on the program.
Thanks for having me.
It's great having you here. And I feel like, you are, maybe one of the top photographers here in Albuquerque. Certainly, like, what you do, you're really reflecting the culture here in New Mexico. And so, how did you get involved? Because you were just saying that you didn't start really photographing until you were in your 30s. Is that right?
That's right. That's I think I bought my first camera when I was 33 or 34. But and so I've been trying ever since then. But I feel like I really didn't start photographing the way I want to photograph until about 5 years ago. And so it feels like it's all very new to me.
But it's if in that short time you've really established yourself. People know who you are, and you definitely capture kind of a lot of the aesthetic of sort of some of the subcultures and stuff that are here. So, maybe talk a little bit about that, kind of how you got involved in photographing the sort of people that you do.
Well, I guess I've kind of always been attracted to subcultures, and New Mexico has some of the best. And, I was thinking about that on the drive over here. It's when I was growing up, I wasn't too crazy about Albuquerque. I didn't like it for all the reasons you don't like a place you grow up in. But now it's just I love it so much. It's this is a place I feel most comfortable with. I feel like I can go anywhere with my camera, and I understand the people here. And I think that's what makes it so interesting for me to photograph.
Yeah. Talk about the lowrider community who you've photographed.
The lowrider community is they're amazing, and it's funny because it's something relatively new that I've done in my life, and I was always aware of lowriders growing up here.
Sure.
But photographing the community, it started off very slow, but now I feel like I'm really ingrained in it, and it's a big community, and it's a really welcoming place. I feel really welcomed by everyone when I'm out there photographing with my camera, and a lot of people have become good friends of mine. So
yeah, how did you start? You just went to lowrider shows, or like what was the first?
Well,
step?
actually, so initially, I saw that they were downtown. Maybe it was like 2016 or so, and I kept meaning to go down with my camera and take some pictures, and I did a couple times, and I recognized this guy that I photographed. His name was Sparky, and I photographed him a few years before that, and I brought him that picture. And I gave it to him. He was so cool about it, and he gave me a hot dog and a Coke. He had a little hot dog stand, and it made me feel real welcome. So I went back a few times, and then kind of the pandemic happened, and I didn't photograph any of that for years. And then I started just photographing with more intent, and I would go out a lot. And my friend Jessica Roybal, she was really getting into photographing a lot of lowriders, and so I would go with her, and we'd hang out and just take pictures of cars and people, and that's kind of how I got into it.
Yeah, and I feel like you have a very distinctive style, which I don't know how you would describe it, but I think number one, you're really good at capturing people as they are, and but there's a kind of like almost like a noir kind of feeling sometimes with like your use of maybe contrast and dark black and white.
Right. I mean, I guess for me, half of it is the editing. I like to kind of create the picture not in a kind of fake Photoshop way, but just with the tones. I feel like I can take a photo and kind of really turn it into something more special than it is when it comes out of the camera.
Yeah.
But the most, you have to start with a good photo to begin with, and then to get there, I think the naturalness. I used to really be into street photography, so I got good at capturing people candidly, and I was really good at that, and I could take a lot of pictures without anyone telling from really close. But I always wanted to get closer, and in order to get closer, you have to talk to people.
Right.
And that was always kind of the barrier for me. And then when I started talking to people, just everything changed, because once you become friends with someone, you can do anything.
Yeah.
I'm not as far as like photography. You can pull your camera out and take pictures, and then once they're comfortable with you being there, they kind of ignore you in a way, and then you can just step back and capture what's happening. And it's like they know that I'm there, but they're not sitting there posing or anything.
Yeah, is that tough? Because I would imagine like a lot of people, they're like, oh, the photographer's here, let me pose, let me look cool or something,
Oh yeah, well, a lot of people will do that, but they'll only do that for a little bit, and then they'll get back to doing what they're doing.
Right.
And if you stay long enough, you can get through that.
And then what about the initial thing of just kind of getting in with people? Is that tough, like to gain access sometimes to these communities, or to feel like you're welcomed?
For me, it's not tough, but it's because I like to be there, and I'm interested in what they're doing, and it's exciting for me to kind of be a part of it or understand what's going on, and so I don't find it hard to get into something like that, because it's exciting for me, and I think people can tell that. And, it's like I want to be there. I'm not doing it for some job or some other purpose other than that's like what I like to do.
Yeah, but some people might be. Have you ever had experienced people being a little bit maybe standoffish or mistrusting you a bit?
Oh yeah, definitely. That's definitely happened before, and I think it happens when it happens less now, because people know who I am or know why I'm there, and I think if the right person says you're okay to be there, then everybody is okay with that. But in order to get to that point, you have to be genuine.
Yeah.
And have to show interest in what people are doing, and then they'll let you hang around.
Yeah. And one series that you did, I think that's pretty remarkable, we were talking about a little bit before, is the Mongols Motorcycle Club. They don't like to be called a gang, I think, but Motorcycle Club. And tell me about how you got involved photographing them.
Well, it was actually a kind of random way, but I was contacted by somebody through Instagram, of all places. And I was asked if I would photograph a kind of funeral memorial ride for someone that had passed away prior. And so I didn't know any of these guys. And I showed up at the San Carlos Cemetery with a couple cameras and was hanging out. And then all of a sudden, like 100 guys on motorcycles rolled in. They all had masks on their faces, but I had never met that guy in person, so I didn't really know what he looked like.
Yeah, he was a kind of a leader in the group. Or
I think he's the. I feel like he's the New Mexico president or something like that.
Yeah.
And I spoke to him, and then he just said, "Everyone knows you're here. You can do your thing. Just go around." And so I just went around with my camera and I photographed it.
Yeah, so that's great. I mean, you got kind of instant access because a leader invites you in.
It was instant access because it was a world that I definitely don't know, but I'm always been curious about.
Sure. Did you feel? I mean, were you a little bit nervous going in? Like I would be a little bit nervous, probably meeting a bunch of.
Oh yeah, of course. I was definitely nervous going in.
Biker guys.
Yeah. These guys are the real deal.
Yeah. And I guess they started in, I was reading up, like in 1969, because at that time, the Hells Angels were the big motorcycle club. But the Hells Angels only allowed white people in. So they, wanted to have a more multicultural motorcycle club. So that's how they started, I guess, but they're outlaw bikers, like
Yeah.
the Hells Angels.
Yeah, they definitely are. Everything about them, and I enjoyed getting the kind of privilege or the access to be there to kind of to witness it, and be there with my camera. That's
Yeah.
it's it gets me everywhere, really.
Do you think you'll photograph them again?
I would like to. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would definitely like to do that and spend a little more time with them and just kind of do my thing because I like to hang out with people when they're just doing whatever they're doing
Yeah.
and kind of be there as a witness and also be there to document it.
Yeah. Now, you also said you went to Thailand.
Yes.
When was that?
So I just got back in March, actually. So I spent a couple months out there. I was photographing kind of lowrider culture, some gangsters, and that kind of stuff. And it was really amazing for me because I got welcomed in right away by people that I had no idea who they were. And, at one point, I was driving this guy's, $100,000 lowrider
Wow.
on the other side of the street, trying to just navigate driving on the other side and not also wreck his car.
Right.
And so it was a really beautiful experience. I made a lot of friends and took a lot of photos. I'm not sure what I'm doing with them yet, but I have some kind of project in mind.
Well, that's exciting. I didn't even realize there was a lowrider community in Thailand.
Not a lot of people do, and it's not huge, but it's definitely there. It's thriving. It's been there for at least 25 years. There's people building, lowrider hoppers, bicycles, ironing their pants with the straightest pleats you've ever seen. And so they're really on point out there.
Yeah, nice. And did you have like a translator?
No, I didn't have a translator.
Because you don't speak Thai.
I do not. I can say a few words. And what I learned when I got there is most of these guys didn't speak English either. And so a lot of times I was just using Google Translate on my phone. And if we were in a group of people, there would be one or two that would speak a tiny bit of English. And they would usually be the ones to kind of help me out, point me in directions or, give me food or talk to me. But it was very kind of basic, like, are you okay?
Yeah.
Please sit down, that kind of stuff. So
But they were welcoming.
They were really welcoming, and I think they looked at the photos that I make here, and I take pictures of all the stuff that they're into.
Yeah.
And that was one of the reasons that they let me in so easily. But I think people are people, even if you can't really speak to them that much. You can befriend them, and so I found that. It was a little difficult, but it was also really rewarding, and it was exciting. It's 8,000 miles away, kind of in the jungle, and,
Right. Yeah, yeah. You really put yourself out into these places. Had you been talking to them online or Instagram or something?
Well,
before?
yeah. So I found them through Instagram. I found a couple of people through Instagram about, I don't know, maybe a month before I went out there.
Yeah.
And just hit them up and said, hey, I'm coming out there. And, they replied to me and we had little conversations. So I messaged 4 people, and 3 of them got back to me. And so I met with all 3 of them. And from there, it just expanded this network all around the country. I was in different cities, meeting people and getting introduced to other people. And it just kind of spread from there.
Yeah. I feel like there's an aspect of what you're doing. It's kind of like anthropology. It's like you're sort of embedding yourself in these communities and, taking photos that really express who they are.
I guess I like embedding myself in there. It's for me, it's exciting and fulfilling to just kind of go somewhere and, make friends with a group of people and hang out with them. And that's kind of what I look at it like. It's not, it's really not more complicated than that.
Yeah. And, I mean, but also, sort of you were talking earlier about how, you're, well, I guess half Japanese, half Italian.
Yes.
And growing up here in Albuquerque, people sometimes mistook you for other ethnicities?
I think I get a little bit of a pass like that because no one can really tell what ethnicity I am. And that works out good, in New Mexico.
But maybe I wonder if like growing up with this kind, having a kind of, I don't know, like ethnically ambiguous look, if that maybe made you think more about different cultures, subcultures.
Well, maybe I think more about it. I mean, growing up, half Japanese, half Italian in New Mexico, there's nobody like me.
Yeah.
So, and I don't have any family here either, aside from my mother and brother. So,
Yeah.
I didn't really have anyone that, never had anyone that looked like me growing up. So did I look at I guess I've always been looking at other cultures all the time. I feel like I'm kind of like an outsider, but I can also get in pretty easily.
Like it made you kind of a chameleon.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, yeah, because I had to blend in with everybody because I don't really have like a people or something like that.
Yeah, that's interesting. And maybe some people that would just kind of make them feel like a total outsider all the time. But for you, it's, I don't know, I guess you've been able to kind of go the other direction and feel like you can fit in places.
Well, not always.
Okay.
No, definitely. I mean, I've always kind of been an outsider.
Yeah.
I had a blue mohawk when I was a kid. But and I think being an outsider, I photograph outsider groups,
Right.
and it's like I'm not necessarily I'm not part of those groups, but I understand them,
Yeah.
and I can move through that world okay, and I'm comfortable there.
Yeah.
And so and it's very I'm very fluid like that. I can be in different places and adapt to whatever is happening in that situation. And
Yeah.
you have to know how to behave, and if you do that,
Right.
you can really go anywhere.
No, I think that makes sense. And I think a lot of artists in general can probably I think a lot of artists grow up feeling like outsiders for whatever reason, different reasons for different people. But that kind of feeling like an outsider ends up informing or propelling their art.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Now you've also gone to Mexico.
I've gone to Mexico.
You photographed? Did you photograph in Juarez? I think.
I did, yeah. So I photographed kind of the migrants down in Juarez a couple years ago with my friend Roberto Rosales, and he used to actually work here as a photojournalist, and he took me with him to Mexico, and it was really eye opening. I was just I'm standing right there on the border watching people hold their babies over their heads as they're going through the river trying to get to the other side.
Yeah.
And it was really intense. When you're there and you just see the humanity that's happening. It's like a horrible situation.
Right.
And so he brought me down there, I think about 4 or 5 times, maybe 4 times.
And when was this?
This was in 2022. We even spent New Year's Eve down there once, and just looking for stories and photographing people, and it was sometimes it was very slow. Other times there were thousands of people everywhere, just crossing, and it was crazy.
Yeah.
And then one time, it was just Humvees with barbed wire and got troops with machine guns blocking everyone. So
Yeah.
it was pretty crazy down there, and I was glad to be with Roberto because he knows the land, he knew where to go, where not to go, and I would have been completely lost out there without him.
Yeah. And he knows Spanish, which I think
And he knows Spanish.
You said you only know a little bit, I guess.
Un poquito, right? Yeah, no, I mean, and so he, I was basically tagging along with my camera because I don't speak the language and I didn't really, I mean, I understand the situation down there, but I didn't really understand, there's certain places in Juarez that you don't want to go with the camera.
Right.
And I don't know where those neighborhoods are, so.
Yeah. So it was good. Yeah, you had someone to go with you, and you got some great photos.
Yeah, it was for me it was exciting, and I hate to kind of use it like it was exciting like that because the situation that all these people were in was just really sad.
Yeah.
And so maybe exciting is the wrong word, but there was some type of like kind of energy there, and I enjoyed being in that environment.
And maybe it feels like important also.
It felt important because no one really well, it's not that no one tells their stories, but there's so many stories and so many people out there, and if I can just capture a small little bit of it, I think that's important.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's, I mean, when was the last time you were there?
I went there over about a 1.5 year period.
Yeah.
But I haven't been back in about 2 years now.
Because it's different now.
It's completely different now. It's well, especially now. I know it's very closed. It's very closed off. So I'm not sure what happened to all the people that were there waiting and what as I mean, I'm sure they're still there because they have nowhere to go, but I don't know what's going on with them.
Yeah, yeah. Do you think you'll go back?
I would like to if I get the opportunity. Yes.
Yeah. Where else do you want to go? Have you said you visited Japan
Mm-hmm.
a little bit, and because your mom is Japanese.
Yes.
But did you photograph there?
I did. Oh yeah. I mean, I everywhere I go, I bring my camera, and I started doing that at some point. Always having a camera with me, so anywhere I go, I'm taking pictures. Whether I'm there purposely to photograph, or if I'm just anywhere, I just always have it because I am always, I guess, purposely trying to photograph these days. So
Yeah.
but I would just like to travel more. Traveling is really exciting. I didn't take my first. I left the country before, but I guess my first like really big kind of international thing alone was when I was 39. I went to Southeast Asia, and it was so different from anywhere I'd ever been. It just kind of, I was like, wow, this is crazy. So I like that part of the world because it's so different from here.
So where'd you go in Southeast Asia at that point?
I've been to Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam, Thailand, and Nepal.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think attracts you to that region?
It's so different from the Western world. And I've been to Europe, and the first time I went to Europe, it was really exciting and kind of mind blowing. But after you've been to somewhere like Nepal, Europe is just kind of a older version of America, and
Right.
so I like to experience different cultures. But one thing I've learned is that no matter how far away or how different they are, everyone is basically the same as far as what you want out of your life here and that kind of stuff. So if you understand people, you can really go anywhere.
Yeah. No, I think that makes a lot of sense, And one thing that comes through in your photographs, I think, is the humanity of people and the kind of, you capture people's emotions, I mean, maybe when people first look at your photos, they see the style and they see the, kind of the outward appearance, but then, you see the like the human emotions as well.
I like to, I guess I've always been an observer of people because I used to be really quiet and not talk to anybody when I was younger. And I was always just watching. And so now I'm always observing people. But now I get to do it with a camera. So I'm just trying to find them, at their best sometimes when they're looking, their best. And I want to capture that. I want to make a cool picture that they like too.
Yeah.
So I don't always like photographing people in, bad situations like I guess, down at the border. But I feel like that's important. But also, I like to take photographs that people enjoy of themselves.
Sure. Yeah. Are there particular photographers who influenced you, or that you kind of looked to in the?
Not really, and that's I'm kind of bad about that. I'm only more recently learning about the good photographers out there. I've when I got into photography, I didn't know anything about photography, but I watched a lot of YouTube videos, but not about photographers. I watched videos about camera reviews and and technical stuff. And so I learned how to use a camera, but I didn't learn about photography. I just I've always liked people.
Yeah.
And I've always just wanted to, I guess, been attracted to photographing people. And so I don't have any photographers that I kind of look up to. I mean, I see some great work. I mean, there's all these amazing people out there, but I'm only learning about them now.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's interesting. I mean, and you don't, I mean, obviously it didn't hurt you. I think, if you're a curious person, you like people, you're interested in people, you know how to use a camera, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't start off photography with any, I didn't have a plan or anything. I think initially when I bought the camera, I've always liked gadgets
Yeah.
and technology, and the digital camera was such a cool gadget, and that's kind of like why I got it. Not to do photography, just to take digital pictures and put them on my computer and cut them
Yeah.
out or something.
Because you were doing graphic design?
Yeah, so
beforehand?
I was an art director and graphic designer for this.
And I mean, do you think that kind of gave you anything, maybe an eye for framing, or I don't know, what is it that helps with your photography?
I think that helped. Well, it's funny. I was thinking about that, and I think it did give me. I learned a lot from that. But when I first started taking pictures, I was photographing really kind of boring stuff, like in my backyard, like flowers or
Oh, sure, yeah,
whatever, just like that kind of hobby photography stuff. And so none of my graphic design, art direction thing was in that. And maybe it came in at some point, but initially, I don't know. I'm sure it helps now.
yeah.
I mean, it all helps. It's all all the stuff that I learned over the years adds up to what I do.
Yeah, I would have trouble putting into words all whatever has influenced me, but it just kind of all blends together eventually, I guess, right?
It does. It all blends together. It took a lifetime of stewing for me to finally get it out.
Yeah,
I was always trying to do something like art wise. I used to draw, but I felt I was never great at drawing. It was really hard for me to draw what was on my in my head onto paper. And when I was a graphic designer, I was pretty good at it, but I could never really get what I had in my head out on the computer because I wasn't as master at Illustrator or Photoshop or
yeah,
whatever. But with a camera, for whatever reason, I can make that happen. That's like the
yeah,
thing that I found is like the combination of the photography and then a little bit of the technical side using Lightroom, doing my editing. That's kind of like my art.
yeah.
Because I've always wanted, I tried to paint, couldn't do that. I played an instrument, but I was never really into that. So I've always liked to do things,
Yeah.
but I think this is the one thing that kind of worked out.
This stuck, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, good thing you found it. Did you design your tattoos or?
No, but I did get this tattoo of my favorite camera.
Oh, what camera is
It's
that?
a Leica Q2, and unfortunately, when I was in Thailand, it broke.
Oh man.
And but that's okay because I bought it and I had it for 5 years and in that 5 years I took some amazing photos on it. It did a perfect job as a camera, and they can't last forever. So
What is it that you liked about that camera? What did it do?
nothing in particular. It didn't do anything that great. It's just that's a camera that I always had with me,
Oh yeah.
and when you always have a camera, and I used it for everything. I have other cameras, but I use it for most of the stuff. So some of my favorite pictures were taken on there. So like it's okay. It served its purpose.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know. They're so expensive now. I just don't know if I'll get another one.
It's kind of like losing a pet or something. I don't know, right? It's like it's something that's with you all the time.
I was sad, but honestly, I always have. So that broke, and then I had this in my bag.
So what is this one?
This is a Fuji X100 5. I was always carrying that as my backup, and I just started using it. I don't like it as much, but I'm trying to force myself to like it. So I'm taking it everywhere and using it. And I'm getting some good pictures on it. It's a nice camera. It's not the same. The other one was better, but
Yeah. And you do like darkroom stuff?
No.
No.
Oh,
it's
well,
all
like film.
like it's all digital?
It's all digital. Well,
Yeah.
that's not true. I do shoot some film. I have a friend here in town that's always encouraging me to shoot more and giving me his cameras. But what I like about the immediacy of the digital is that I want to see my photos. For me, taking the photo is only part of it. The other part is when I get back to my laptop and I download all those images and I look at them and I find the exciting ones and then I edit it and then I can be done with the photo.
Yeah.
So with film, you have to get it developed, and I don't develop it myself. So there's always that really like that space, and I don't like that. It's fine.
Yeah.
But
And probably being, coming from a graphic design background, like that makes sense to work with those. It's similar tools probably, right?
it's very similar tools. I mean, as a graphic designer, I used Photoshop a lot. And then as a photographer, I use Lightroom, which is it's not
Yeah.
the same thing as Photoshop. But once you learn one Adobe program, you can kind of teach yourself the next one, even though they're totally different. But yeah,
And you can have a lot of control over the image.
you can have a lot of control over the image, and I like that. And
Yeah.
I feel like I spend hours editing my photos, not like one photo, but I spend just a ton of time with my work, staring at it, doing my thing to it, and get a lot of satisfaction out of
Yeah.
doing that.
Yeah. And what's coming up for you? I think you have an exhibition coming up, don't you?
I do have an exhibition coming up on September 5th at the Secret Gallery. I'm doing that with my friends Jessica Roybal and Gabriela Campos. They're two photographers that I spend a ton of time with. We all hang out and shoot lowriders together. I probably wouldn't have photographed so many lowrider things if it wasn't for those two, because they're my crew. We all
Yeah.
hang out together, and we've made friends with everyone. So.
Have you exhibited together before?
Never. So this is the first time.
Oh, that's exciting.
And,
Yeah.
and that's exciting to kind of do a group show with your friends. I've never done that.
Yeah, and that'll be good for. It's all kind of Albuquerque photos in the show.
It's all Albuquerque photos in the show. And coming up actually at the same time, too, the state fair is starting this year. And I've been photographing the fair since 2017. And this year there's going to be a big exhibit in the Emmanuel Lujan building of my work. And it's, I don't know, maybe 100 feet long by 80 feet tall worth of photos wrapped around different walls and stuff.
Wow,
And so it's just like kind of like 8 years of fair photos.
amazing! It's going to be like a kind of retrospective
It's
in a way.
Yeah, it is, and it's kind of a nice thing. I mean, if the fair moves, which some people think that it will, some people
Yeah.
think it won't, but if it does, it'd be just a nice little moment to see all the stuff that's happened there, or
Yeah.
the stuff that's happened there in my time there. A lot of
Sure.
people photographed it, but
And you have a book coming out, right?
yes. So I do have a book coming out. It's coming out in March of 26. It's been published by UNM Press and distributed by Simon and Schuster, and it's called Seventh and Central, and it's a photo book of kind of Albuquerque and New Mexico lowrider culture, and it's something I've been working on for the last couple of years, and it's the first book I've ever done, so I'm pretty excited about that. It's available on Amazon for pre-order now, so it's happening. So,
Great. Yeah. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
And yeah, you've definitely established yourself as like one of the main kind of Albuquerque photographers. And thank you again for being on the show. It's been really great having you.
well, thank you for having me.